Welcome back to Module 2. In Part 1 of this module, we will look at different types of learning assessments. At the end of Part 1, you will be able to recognize different types of assessments that can be used within the National Monitoring Framework. Here, you can see 3 different types of assessments: classroom tests, public examinations, and large-scale assessments. But what are the differences among them? In classrooms, teachers may design quizzes or tests to evaluate if the students are following the learning content. If learning is not taking place, teachers may provide remedial activities according to the individual results. Classroom tests could also be used to determine whether students have reached the acceptable standard. They are usually not used for a benchmarking purpose. In other words, they are not designed to compare student learning across schools. Public examinations, on the other hand, have different aims from classroom tests. The results from examinations are often used to certify that individual students attain a certain level. They may also be used for selection of students for further education. When the student's educational or professional future is dependent on performance of an examination, it is referred to as a high-stakes evaluation. Finally, large-scale assessments are very similar to evaluations. These are instruments designed to provide evidence about the levels of student achievement in specific learning domains. Unlike the examinations that focus on individual results and determine certification or selection, there are no consequences of the assessment results for the individual students. Rather, the purpose is to assess how well students in the system are learning and explain why some students are performing better than others. A variety of background information related to students' home, their teachers, and their learning environments could be collected along with the students' learning outcomes. When analyzed by linking them together, they can provide informed policy suggestions that can be used by the policymakers. We often see the distinction between formative and summative assessments. The distinction between them may not have to do with the tools themselves. Rather, it has to do with how the assessment results are used. When the assessment results could provide information allowing diagnosis and successive adaptations of a new program during the developmental and implementation phases, they are considered to be formative assessments. Here, the focus is to obtain information on program improvement. On the other hand, when the assessment results could measure achievement at the end of the program or instruction, they are considered to be summative assessments, where the focus is to obtain information on program effectiveness. Therefore, in summative assessments, the interest is the assessment of learning, where students' achievements level is measured against specific learning goals, standards, and expectations. Formative assessments could be considered as the assessments for learning, where the information about student progress could be used by the teachers in order to inform about their learning and to provide feedback to students about their learning and how to improve. Formative assessments could also be considered the assessments as learning, where students themselves are involved in monitoring their own progress and using self-assessment and teacher feedback to reflect back in order to achieve their learning goals. UIS has been monitoring the progress on Target 4.1 worldwide by using the so-called Learning Assessment Capacity Index, LACI. The index shows how much countries were involved in large-scale assessments at primary and secondary education levels between 2010 and 2015. The index is composed of 5 criteria based on the following questions. 1. Did the country conduct a national assessment at the primary level? 2. Did the country conduct a national assessment at the secondary level? 3. Did the country use national assessments to measure learning at 2 points of time in both primary and secondary levels? 4. Did the country participate in a regional assessment at the primary or secondary level? And finally, 5. Did the country participate in an international assessment at the primary or secondary level? Each question is rated as either 0 or 1, leading to a scale ranging from 0 to 5. To explore the LACI index, pause the video and type the link that appears on this slide into your browser, or type LACI index into your search bar. What was the LACI index for your country? The World Bank also evaluates the assessment frameworks of various countries, including 4 different types of assessments: classroom tests, examinations, national large-scale assessments, and international large-scale assessments. It uses systematically 3 different criteria: 1, enabling context; 2, system alignment; and 3, assessment quality. The enabling context covers policy framework, leadership, public engagement, organizational structure, and availability of funding and trained staff. The system alignment covers alignment between assessment and learning goals, curriculum, and teacher training opportunities. The assessment quality covers the quality on design, administration, and data analyses, as well as the effective of the assessment data usage. This means that countries are expected to have a balanced assessment framework throughout various types of assessments. Please move on to Module 2, Part 2.